Let's jump to this next story. We've got Tesla price cuts. So out of the blue the other day, Tesla announced that they were reducing some of their car prices by as much as 20%. It's a pretty crazy number. They're claiming that this is a result of one, preparing for a recession, and they need to get through their inventory and increase demand because, with the recession, people have less spending power, and so they want to get prices down for more people to be able to afford their vehicles. They're also claiming that they have lower costs to manufacturing their vehicles because supply chains have come down, and they're finally reaching major economies of scale. So what that means is they've now got their supply chain and their materials needed to create these cars in a place where they can actually increase manufacturing capacity while decreasing prices. So they've brought more of their manufacturing and supply chain in-house. So as they make more cars, that becomes more and more efficient. So that's what they claim. There's also two other sides to the story. There are the bulls who are optimistic about the company that are kind of outside of Tesla. These are the institutional investors in the public market. Bulls saying they're lowering prices to increase demand and continue to dominate market share. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you how much market share they actually have these days. It's pretty amazing. So you can see in these charts how much of electric car sales are owned by Tesla. So here's all of the electric car sales in the world here, but these are particularly in the United States. You can see Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3 are, controlling the market here in the US. So these are all, again, these are worldwide electric car manufacturers. So these are all the ones throughout the world, but these are particularly sales in the US. So that's one chart. And then here's another way to view that data. So you can see again, Tesla is just far and away owning the market. So the whole market in the US, they own about 64% of the market share of electric car sales. But in the last year, that's come down from 75%. So they are losing their domination by a little bit. That's just because all the other car companies are beginning to come to market with their electric vehicles. But I think what's going on here that I pointed out a second ago, that Tesla says they're doing is they're lowering their prices so more people can afford it. And as I said, the bulls are excited about this because it's going to keep Tesla remaining in this position of market dominance. The last perspective I'll share before I let you give your points, Logan, real quick here, is the bears. So those that are not optimistic about Tesla's future are saying that Tesla is experiencing lower demand, and this is out of necessity to sustain that demand during a recession. And they believe that this is a sign of a struggling company that has deteriorating margins. So they're looking at it from a different perspective, thinking that their margins are struggling. So I don't know what your take is. I know you've wanted a Tesla for a while. I'm a big Tesla fan, but what do you think is going on here?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this now allows these Teslas to be eligible for the credit on electric vehicles that are priced under $55,000. I think it'll be an interesting dynamic to see that play in alongside, dropping the price in general as we head into recession. In my opinion, that seems like it would drive demand for Teslas and for electric vehicle adoption, kind of at the same time as America's really making an effort to build out the charging infrastructure that I feel like a lot of Americans are really waiting to see how that gets built out before they switch over to an electric vehicle. I know that's pretty much the primary reason that, I don't want to have a Tesla at the moment, is just because if I go on a road trip somewhere, I don't want to have to be altering my route to be able to have to go and charge. So as soon as you get all three of those kind of aligning all at once, I feel like that's something that can really drive adoption even as we head into a recession. So that's kind of the three things that I see kind of aligning all at once that makes this an interesting story. Is that the tax credit that's now going to be eligible for Teslas, the reduced price on top of that, and then also the infrastructure being built out that I think is going to have a really positive impact on driving electric vehicle adoption altogether throughout America. So that's kind of my take on it. I think you did a great job just summarizing the bull and bear perspective on this. I think for me, I'm always going to try to see the optimistic side of these sorts of things, especially since I like Tesla and I like Elon Musk. But I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that. Those are kind of the points that I took away from that story.
Yeah. I mean, my final thoughts here is I don't think Elon Musk is bluffing when it comes to their economies of scale. I think they're focused on the manufacturing side of things just as much, if not more, than their cars. He likes to say that they're building the machine that builds the machine, which is alluding to their manufacturing and their automation and kind of the fact that they're building everything in-house in these gigafactories. I don't think he's bluffing when it comes to the economies of scale. I mean, companies like Toyota and many others, praise themselves for their economies of scale and the way they operate their manufacturing. Tesla is by far and away the most technologically advanced manufacturing in the world. And I think that he's saying, hey, this is just now starting to come online from our worldwide gigafactory network, and we're seeing massive efficiencies. So I don't think he's bluffing. I think the thing we all have to pay attention to related to Tesla and their financials is their margins. Are their margins and this price drop going to correlate with each other? So are their margins increasing because of these economies of scale? And does that increase match what they can afford to drop prices in order to bolster demand? So if we see their margins fall pretty drastically, that's not a great sign. And that's probably a sign that Elon Musk was bluffing when it comes to his manufacturing capabilities. If the margins stay strong while they lower prices, then this is all part of the plan. And again, Elon is showing that he's great at many things. Manufacturing is one of the hardest things to be great at, given how big of a scale it is. And if he pulls it off with Tesla here, that's going to be pretty impressive. So that's what I'm going to watch is, are their margins going to stay strong?
Yeah, I think that's something we should definitely keep the listeners updated on as well. So we'll make a note to revisit this story as we see the effects of these changes take place.